Hey everybody, welcome to Rockin' Token Talkin'. I'm Kelly V, the POTPIXI, and I'm the host and creator here. I have a wonderful co-host with Steve Lips Kudlow, and we talk to so many epic bands all over the world, big bands and small bands, and so many people at a time. We have some epic co-hosts that join us, like Lane Van Cable, who adds so much to the show, just comedic comedy and just lightheartedness. We have so much fun here at Rockin' Token Talkin'. I'm very, very proud. We have another epic co-host all the way from the UK with Jackie Chambers of Girls' School in Siberia. I'm really, really proud to have her here. She is so much fun and just an angel of the metal scene. We talk to so many epic bands all around the world. We deal with so much music through the decades, from the classics right up to the brand new bands. I'm very, very proud to do this and to talk about the pandemic and how it's affected our music industry. But don't worry, metalheads, before we get you back out there appreciating and playing the music that we love to hear so much, and before we get out there to see these epic shows and droves that we love so much, we are here to keep you sane. We are here to chat, we are here to keep things lively, and we are here to keep the music going, because it is what we do at Rockin' Token Talkin' with so much heart. I want to say thank you to all my epic co-hosts, from Lips to Jackie to Lane, and of course all the behind the scenes help from my incredible friend Roy Stegman, and the epic occasional host with Sean Raven Chain. It is a family here at Rockin' Token Talkin', and I'm very, very honored. So much heart, we hope to keep you rocking all over the world. We have a very special show extension called Rare Disease Meets Rockstar, where we introduce some very special people to some other very special people in the hopes of ending discrimination all over the world and to raise awareness. Thank you so much for my family at Rockin' Token Talkin', and if you'd like to become part of that family or to reach out, get involved, thank you so very, very much. 33 and keep it metal, everybody. Keep it metal, everybody. Be kind to yourself and each other. Kelly V, POTPIXI. Hey everybody, it is Kelly V, the POTPIXI here. Thanks so much for tuning in to a very special episode of Rockin' Token Talkin'. This is an old interview with the most incredible Bobby Gustafson of Overkill, VIO-LENCE, and Satan's Taint. That is so much fun to say. But thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for sharing, supporting, and liking Rockin' Token Talkin'. Kelly V. Well, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for doing the show. I'm really, really proud to have you on.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah. How are you doing right now? Where are you located?
I'm in Florida. I've moved here probably about 96.
Oh, wow.
Ever since. A long time already, yeah. Time flies.
Yeah, I spent some time in Florida recently. What an incredible metal community down there. No lie. How do you like it?
Yeah, there's, obviously, Tampa has a big history.
Of course.
But there's a lot of metal around here. It's just that they're isn't too many places to play. Like at a bar level.
Yes.
It's usually, you know,
too.
some of the bigger shows come down here, but yeah, it's hard to be at that bar level scene because it's mostly sports bars and they really don't cater to the band performance.
I've been doing a little bit of promoting. I've been doing a little bit of promoting. I have a few great venues in Florida. I absolutely adore that cater to nothing but metal, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But even Florida has been affected, probably right now, a little less than the other states. Am I correct?
Yeah, we've been, our governor's great. He's had us open. You know, he understands that, you know, restaurants and such have to keep going, and, you know, the restaurants complied down here as far as they, you know, as much as they could with opening up and being outside. Obviously the venues and, you know, shoulder to shoulder people can't happen to watch bands, but, you know, it's slowly getting back to what it used to be. People are hopefully getting less afraid. I mean, there's still a lot of mask wearing and stuff, but, you know, we'll see what happens within the next couple of months now that the vaccine.
I mean, I hate to say it, so many other places around are going into complete lockdown, including where I am in Toronto right now, and it's just heartbreaking. Yeah, to go backwards, yeah. Because I think it's
disgusting.
Yeah, you guys have the luckiness of being able to go outside and have the space to have your 6 feet apart, whereas a lot of our venues or restaurants just can't do that. So that might be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously up in Toronto, you're not going to be, you know, setting up tables outside.
Fuck no.
It's just too cold. You know, we got the luxury of it being warm down here.
Right.
If restaurants have complied, and a lot of them did, and spent the extra money to get plexiglass and tents and little stations that had sanitizer and stuff, they should have left them open. I mean, what's going on between New York and California it's just pathetic. It's really sad.
I know.
Like everyone's on a power trip.
We're still faced with people, though, who don't seem to think it's a real thing, who aren't really, you know, taking it seriously. And unfortunately, we have to cater the rules to the dumbest person in the room, right? Always. Yeah, it sucks. And it's affected our industry so much. I talk to so many people, and it's heartbreaking all around the world right now. And do you have any solutions as to how it's going to come back? Like, would you support the vaccine and in getting it and in order to perform?
I mean, I'm not a big flu shot type of guy that, you know, some people go every year. I mean, I really get sick. I actually used to get sick more being up in New York than I do down here. I don't get sick as much down here. It's a lot cleaner and a lot easier to be down here. But, I mean, I know they're going to start with these, you know, identification cards or whatever they do to prove that you got the shot. But, you know, for us, you know, we're doing, besides some of the big shows and small tours that we've got lined up, we're doing a lot of weekend things. And with the weekend things, we have to jump on a plane and go from Baltimore to Chicago, you know, and play another show. I mean, that's what we had all lined up. So, I mean, hopefully it gets straightened out. Because, I mean, literally, you know, us included with every other band, we lost an entire year sitting around. And to some bands, you know, they sat down and wrote music, which was good, but I mean, for me, it was like, it was just more depressing than anything else because we had such a great year lined up. So really, it just got shifted to 2021, and we'll see what happens.
I hear you there. I mean,
the next couple of months.
You know, I heard from people who are just starting out, so this year was their year, and now it's gone, you know, and they might not ever get that opportunity again. And then I hear from people, it's just so depressing, they've literally broke up and quit.
Yeah, it's been bad. It's been, you know, they were saying all along, you know, people are getting depressed, suicides are up, drinking was up, drugs were up, domestic violence was up. It was, you know, there's something we weren't used to having before in our entire lives. So it's like, you know, there was a lot of denial, but then, you know, you saw people getting sick and you realized, you know, it is real, it's out there. But, I mean, the recovery rate is great on it. So, you know, I don't think people should fear it as much as they say. There's a lot of fear mongering going on, and, you know, I don't think it's as bad as what they say. I think a lot of the older people, unfortunately, you know, couldn't fight it.
Yep, of course.
It is what it is. I mean, it seemed like for the past 20 years, every year there was some sort of new disease that came out.
Do you remember the SARS epidemic?
Yeah, it was SARS and then chicken
virus. Yes, we celebrated that SARS with like the largest, you know, rock show there was, you know, ever, I think, in Toronto. It was like the SARS concert, the benefit concert, you know, and I really think that that's going to be what happens as soon as it can. It's just going to be a flood of, it'll be the best year in music when it comes back.
I mean, I saw a list, someone made a list of every disease that came out since, you know, 2000.
Horrifying, I bet.
Keto type thing to the SARS to chicken virus or whatever else. It's like, why are they like constantly throwing a new virus at us every year? You know, it makes you kind of wonder a little bit.
I often
my whole childhood from growing up until the year 2000, you didn't have to really worry about anything.
Yeah.
Not when you were a kid, and that was it.
Yep.
You know, maybe you got a flu shot, but how does like a new disease come out every year since 2000?
I think somebody mentioned, I think it was Tony Nolan recently about, scientists somewhere who are now playing with these things, right? In the last 20, 30 years of understanding viruses and DNA, and, these things are mutating and through that and maybe getting out into the world. We just need to stop messing with stuff, right? Maybe,
hopefully they figure it out so we can all go out and start playing again.
I bet you every interview you probably do, you get asked about Overkill and, leaving that band and all of that. And I think, you know what, brother? I think that's kind of covered, don't you? Unless you want to talk about it,
I don't mind answering, but...
Of course.
It's the same answer
every single time, right? Yeah, and there's no doubt that
some sort of different question.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to state for the record, there's no doubt the band is not the same without you, but of course it would not be. And do you find it frustrating that you can't just join another project or create something new with some new people without it being a huge issue?
It's one of those things, unfortunately, it's going to follow you forever because it's
iconic.
Your first big band, it's your most major release, it touched probably the most people, so, there's just certain things that are going to follow you, and I realize that. It's, your first husband or your first wife that you had kids with, even if you're divorced, you're still in one way attached to that person for the rest of your life because you got kids together or whatever. So I kind of look at it that way. And I don't mind being out of the band. I never really cared. It got to the point where, we weren't even really getting along that well towards the end. So, it wasn't, to me, it wasn't a great loss considering the fact that, I wrote most of the stuff, so it was like, okay, well, I'll just do that all over again with different people. But the thing that bothered me was, just the fact that they just kept taking money that was rightly mine throughout the year. And that bothered me because, when I signed out of the band and we had an agreement, it was like, okay, well, you keep your publishing and your royalties, and, you know, they seem to not really honor that. And then especially in 2012, when streaming came about, which I should have been getting paid on, they wound up taking my share and splitting it between the two of them 50-50 when they know that that was wrong. And then you have to fill out a form to actually be on Sound Exchange.
Right.
And one of the questions is, what percentage of each song do you own? So they just straight up lied and said they both owned half of every song.
Oh my God, brother! Wow.
I didn't know about it because I thought BMI or ASCAP was taking care of that when it came to streaming, but it wasn't. It was all this company called Sound Exchange. So, you know, between little stuff like that and losing out on merchandise, which I should have got, and other stuff, you know, that's the only negative I've got about those guys, because I thought that they were going to honor what we signed contractually to, you know, be paying me as long as they were a working outfit, and they have been for, you know, the past 30 years since I've gone. But I find out drips and drabs later on, okay, well, you know, they're stealing this, they're stealing that, they're using this song, they're using that song, and that's really the only shit that bothers me.
You know what? I've watched a few, many interviews, and you've never really divulged or gone into too much about how much that stings, and I just can't imagine. Honestly, I will say this: this is the hardest industry in the world to succeed in. It is so competitive based, it is so cutthroat, and it is very hard to find that solid.
Competitive back in the day. I mean, you know, we just happen. It's all about timing, and we happen to be getting in at the right time, as all the other bands when the thrash stuff started to take off. So, we were part of that initial wave.
Yeah.
The thrash or the speed or whatever type of metal that was going on in. And it is difficult. I mean, some things are easier now for bands because you can literally make your own music at home.
Yes.
And yourself, which was something we couldn't do back in the day because it was released on vinyl, and it's very expensive to do, so you needed that record company. But in turn, it was also easier for them to rip you off back then.
It was easier for them to rip you off. I definitely am learning the ropes and seeing all the sides of that, right? But I also see the fact that there isn't much support for the young bands who aren't established to actually get a label deal and get out there. And so much of it is on the responsibility of the artist now. I'm sure you're noticing this with your new stuff, to produce your own, push, right? Your own merch, your own everything.
Got to create a following, because it's very hard for some of these bands today, because so many bands can be out there.
Yeah.
You can pretty much make your own music and put it out there. The level of competition is greater. I mean, back in the day, what we had to do was sweat it out in the clubs, and we traveled from Boston to Baltimore and everywhere in between, building up our following, and that's what we have to do.
Right.
Now, basically, you got a CD and you've got some band pictures and you put it up on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and you push yourself that way. But, we basically had to hit the pavement back in the day and push yourselves. But, it is a lot harder for some of these bands today because, anyone could put something out. So the level of competition is definitely greater.
You got any advice for those people, those young, guitarists?
The best thing they can do, I think, is really, just play well. Because so many bands, you can fix stuff on the computer these days, and you get a nice product when it comes out. But then when you see the band live, it's not as good, because they haven't had the years of experience of going through club shows and live shows and dealing with it on that level. You can be great in your bedroom, but you've got to hit the stage and you've got to have a show for people, because that's what you want to see. That's what you're paying to see. is the best the band can do. So that might help you separate yourself from maybe some of the lackluster type of musicians.
Oh, that's
just,
great.
You know, play as best as you can.
I mean, what was your very favorite event that you played?
We had a couple. I mean, we had, I think the very last show I did, we did a show for a girl who was needing a liver transplant, and we did kind of a benefit show for her. We played, you know, a big arena in Poland.
Oh, wow.
I think the first, the first American thrash band to play, you know, on the other side of the wall.
Wow.
A couple of really good shows on tour in England that were memorable.
Oh, but, wow. That's amazing.
We had some great stuff with, you know, Slayer and Motorhead and you know, just Slayer shows and Megadeth shows here and there, but you know, it's just, you know, little memorable nights here and there. It's just a combination. Nothing sticks out as like the most amazing. It was just like little stuff here and there that you may have overlooked at the time, but now you look back at it, it's like, wow, you know, we did a great tour with Slayer and Motorhead.
Yeah, I've been talking to a lot of people who did tours, you know, Motorhead. They're one of my favorites. You know, it must have been a good time to say the least. I want you to know that just by doing this interview, you know, you are helping me. I battled terminal illness with some pretty rare conditions. So, without even knowing it in turn, you're really helping out for a lot of people, actually. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So, what are you working on right now?
I should be working on something. Got a lot of riffs for, you know, eventually when the time comes for Violence.
Right.
I mean, Phil is writing. They have, you know, the EP that we're going to do now. We're just going to do 5 songs. We don't want to do like a full-blown album because we don't want any weak songs. We want to come up with, you know, 5 songs that are going to be in the set. So Phil, you know, since I'm in Florida, those guys are in California. Phil, Sean, and Perry are putting together the songs. We've got 4 definites already. I think they're working on the 5th.
Oh, wow.
So kind of learning these 5 new songs when I get the 5th one. But we're learning these songs, and I'm also, like, I've kind of got the set down now. It was kind of a quick thing to get me to learn the set before, but we wound up not being able to do any of the shows. So, you know, I'm keeping myself practiced.
Nice.
And, you know, just replaying the songs that we're going to do in the set, plus these new ones, and then eventually I'm going to go back out there and we'll go record this so they can do the EP and get that out. And then I have, I'm like working on 150 riffs maybe by now. I've got a bunch of stuff, you know, some complete songs, but mostly just parts. And I'm going to give those guys, after this EP comes out, I'm going to give those guys the whole batch of stuff that I've got saved up, and we'll see if we can use any of it, and if they like any of it, because, you know, we're all going to, you know, I guess vote on whatever sounds good, because I'm all over the place. I mean, I've got riffs that sound like Black Sabbath, you know, I've got fast stuff, I've got slow stuff, so whatever's going to fit Violence, I want to use for them. So whatever they give me the okay on, we'll probably work with, and then whatever's left over or they don't want to use, I could possibly put out, you know, another Satan's Taint album. But I want to give them the first, you know, first option, because we'll probably be doing, after this EP, we'll probably do a full album. So I want to make sure that, you know, I at least, you know, contribute, which is what they want. So I want to make sure that, you know, my best stuff that I approach them with, because I want to make a killer album when we do a full album.
I mean, even if you wrote 10 songs, I don't think any of them would be weak ever. So, but an artist is always his own worst critic, right? Always.
Yeah, we definitely, at the time, sometimes, you rush a little bit. I've always been rushed to write the stuff, and it's like, you get it out, and you're like, okay, well, finally, I got 9-10 songs, and you get it out. But then when you sit on it a little bit later, you're like, that song isn't the best out of the 10. If we really would have had a better one than that, then it really would have been perfect. So sometimes, if you sit on a song a little bit longer, some songs become the A-list, and some songs, and you kind of strive to get everything on the A-list. The ones that get your blood pumping. So, but sometimes that just takes time to do it, and you've got to sit on it. Sit on it for a couple of months and say, you know what, that was fun when we wrote it, but it's not as good as the other songs. So you always second guess things, and you want the best that you could possibly do. So I think that's basically the vibe that they have as well as me.
Do you find it hard being pulled in two bands? Just
Not really, because I think, I kind of, after I finally got the Destruction Ritual album together and we got it out, that was kind of like a relief for me to get it out and see what it did. But now it's just that I'm concentrating so much on Violence that it's not like I'm trying to do both.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't have to worry about doing shows with Satan's Taint and Violence at the same time. It's like I'm definitely more, concentrating more on Violence.
That would be an epic show, though. The two bands together. I won't lie.
Yeah, it would be fun. I mean, who knows who I'll use for the next album? I try and use, my friends and people that I know as much as I can, just to make it all like a mixture of different people and have fun. So, I mean, who
awesome.
knows who might want to do stuff later and add to it.
Unfortunately, that the sad thing is obviously COVID is happening, but everybody is sitting at home right now. I have gotten more interviews because of it. Everybody's at home. They got nothing to do. They're not touring. They're not playing. They're not, writing as much. So to reach out and just keep shooting for it. If you want to include more people, they're sitting around bored too. Noticing that.
I mean, this should be the time when I'm actually working my ass off because there's nothing going on. But I wound up just becoming lazy.
Extended vacation, yeah.
Nothing to me.
Aww. Well, I mean, you guys work so hard. I'm sure that the vacation was deserved.
Yeah, I mean, I worked very hard on Destruction Ritual. I mean, I literally took a guitar with me to work and had it in my truck. So when I would take lunch, I was actually playing guitar in the front of my truck, like putting stuff together. Then I'd come home and put it on tape, and I played all the guitars and the solos, and I want to play in the bass on it as well. Just so we can get it out. It was like me and Jim, the drummer, really just sat down and hit it really hard, like for a couple of months. And after we finally got it done and out, it was like it was a big relief, but it was also like, holy crap, I just ran a marathon, I need a freaking break. So
yeah, I think it's unbelievable to most people, and especially to me when I started out, that the metal musicians, the rock stars, they all have day jobs, right? Because you're talking about having to work and write, and I just think that's unbelievable. People must think you're so wealthy all the time. You write an album, it's a success, and I don't think the average person realizes how much is involved with very little reward sometimes. or not a fair reward, not a fair reward. And
yeah, exactly. I don't think a fair reward, because you know, I think I would have every once in a while gotten a little bit better of a check if you know, the old band was a little bit more honest. But yeah, I mean, there's so many musicians that it's like you go out on the road, and 2021 is going to be nuts because everyone's going to be on the road. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't wait to go see shows again. But you know why? You're going to need a lot of freaking money, because there's going to be a show every weekend.
Yeah, I know.
So, you know, we're just going to sit back. And, I mean, we kind of rescheduled everything from 2020, just shifted to 2021. So, you know, we added a few things here and there, but everything that we kind of lost out on got switched over. Hopefully, some of the clubs will still be around, because they're not doing anything.
Well, here's
this happened, you know.
I was saying, you know, way back in April and May and June, let's do online events. People are like, nah, right? They're gaining more and more popularity, and I'm hoping that as the industry comes back, that we will get better and better at this, so that people can go out and tour, but also, you know, people can put out some online stuff, and that can stay relevant as well, so there isn't a flood of competition, that we just, you know, we get better with this online events. Because
Still did a bunch of those, and I thought they went over really well. They were pretty cool.
I mean, I've tried a few. They got really great reviews, but we hadn't established the ticketing side of it, so we were asking for $1 donation, and on over 40,000 views, dude, we made $24.24.
Yeah, it's hard right now, because I mean, so many people are in work, and I was actually lucky enough to have a profession that kept working throughout this whole pandemic. But I could not imagine if I had a job that wasn't necessary for the past 11 months. I'd be devastated.
And I don't think people actually, you know, most people live paycheck to paycheck, so that was very devastating, of course. Yeah, all across the board.
Yeah, and I try to explain to some people, I was like, okay, well, you know, a bar has way more than just the bartenders. You know, you've got the club owner, you've got rent, you've got PA systems that get rented, and you've got bouncers that work at the club. You've got the bands, you've got waitresses.
Yep.
You've got, you know, booking agents who book all these bands to go around. I said, you know, there's a big chain of people that are involved in everything, that really can't do anything if that's what your only line of work was.
And I don't think people realize the astronomical cost of rent in a venue sometimes. We were losing all of our iconic, you know, venues in Toronto due to gentrification when the 100-year-old leases run out, and now they have to re-rent at, you know, ridiculous prices, right? So they shut down.
Everything else involved.
It's really sad. Yeah. So, I mean, I hope the industry can recover, and it's going to be up to the fans to do it. It's going to be up to us that when we come back to get out there and support it. And, you know, I'm more angry the government is not supporting it as much as they could be, you know. But
I think a second round of checks that keep debating over in America, you know, it really should have come out, but that was, unfortunately, this happened during an election year, which, you know, our wonderful Nancy Pelosi held back on, and all these people really could have used it, and now they're trying to squeeze it out before Christmas, so we'll see what happens. But, you know, it's, like you said, there's such an astronomical amount of rent on these clubs to stay open if you have a decent sized club. But I mean, it even trickles down to the liquor, beer, some places serve food. I mean, you know, Phil owns the bar, and they wouldn't let him open because he was strictly a bar and didn't serve food.
Wow.
There was place open next to him, so he had to actually kind of combine with somebody to serve food so he could open his bar, you know, and that's California.
Oh, wow.
So it's a lot of crazy stuff. So hopefully we'll have places to play, because we had so much stuff booked. The whole year looked great. You know, we're going to be going to South America. We have the big festival in the middle of the summer, and we're going to go back to Germany at the end of the year, and there's a bunch of shows just across the states. I mean, literally, I went to California to go on the Japan, Australia, New Zealand tour last February. I went out there 2 weeks prior to do rehearsals, and within those 2 weeks, COVID struck, and all these countries got closed down.
Right. I mean,
so, yeah.
I have friends, musicians, supporters all over the world, and it was the same boat, and it was
yeah.
I mean, where was your favorite country to play? Where do you think you're best received? Those are two different questions.
From the old days, and still people that I talk to now, overwhelmingly it was Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Germany was always very much still in the 80s. They love the 80s. They're not going to see you every couple of weeks. So when you do a show once a year, they really come out and doing like the early tours that we did in Europe, which the majority were German.
Mm-hmm.
It really had an impact on even the way I think that we wrote songs.
Uh-huh.
We wrote songs for the live show, because they have such a great time. They have no inhibitions. They don't care. They'll be jumping on your head, screaming the lyrics and singing every background vocal the entire time. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, other than that, the weird thing that was when we went to Japan, like, people knew when we were landing and showed up at the airport.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they followed us from the gate, and then there was, like, people outside the hotel. Because you get jaded in America, because it's like, oh, if I don't see them now, I'll see them in a couple of months, or I'll just,
right.
I'll drive 60 miles to go see them. But, in Germany, it's like, hey, they may not be here for a year and a half, 2 years.
Or ever again.
Never go.
Yeah.
That's what they do, man. They really come out.
Oh, that's awesome. What is the freakiest thing that a fan has ever done?
Freakiest thing?
Or most extreme thing?
Just like off the top of my head, I remember when we did do that show in Poland. You ever see like a high school cheerleader staff? They make a pyramid.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like, they had this huge mosh pit going on, but then they all kind of like made a pyramid, like cheerleaders.
Oh, that's freaking awesome.
Back.
Wow.
And they made this gigantic pyramid in the middle of the floor, and I was just like, holy shit, am I really seeing that right now? And it's like, that was kind of crazy.
Is there any footage of it anywhere?
That's the only place I've ever seen them do that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, I bet. So, challenge American and North American metalheads. Let's try and see if we can get some pyramids going in the next show.
Other than that, the only other weird thing I've seen is when I'm on a bar plate, people sit down and they row a boat like they're the Viking ship.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I saw that like 2 years ago when they played down here. I was like, what the hell is that? Like, it turned into a thing. So, you got people rowing a ship and you got people making a pyramid.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. Well, I won't lie. One of my conditions, I have something called cataplexy, where if I'm emotional or happy, I become paralyzed in parts or my whole body. So right now I'm actually laying down on the floor, and I can only move like my face. So I really appreciate you doing this, but I think that I'm overwhelmed, and I think I need to probably end it here. And I just want to say, thank you so much. Happy holidays. I hope you have the best Christmas.
Same to you. Thank you very much.
Awesome, brother.
Appreciate it. We finally got it done.
I know, right? All right. Well, don't be afraid. Keep in touch. And I'll definitely be sending everything to you very, very soon. So, have a great weekend, brother. All right.